Good afternoon, and welcome to What Moves Her, brought to you by Coldwell Banker Advantage, our localized program that unapologetically shines the light on women's leadership and helps you reach your goals. I am Laurie Donofrio. I'm the Regional Vice President for Northern Region of Coldwell Banker Advantage, and I'm here with Denise Kinney, and we're going to talk about the power of a growth mindset. A growth mindset is an attitude and belief that people have the ability to develop their talents, abilities, intelligence, and emotional intelligence. It basically means that success comes from the consistent effort of working through challenges. Leaders with a growth mindset tend to focus more on the process rather than just the outcome. A fixed mindset is a belief that your talents are fixed and unchangeable. If you aren't good at something, you never will be good at it. In dealing with real estate and your business, how does the power of growth mindset help propel our business and our personal life? Because we care about that too. And we're going to discuss this with Denise and her how mindset has helped her through her professional life and personal life. How are you doing, Denise?
Good, doing great, Laurie. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very excited to be here.
Can you tell us just a little bit about you since we're promoting this to all of our regions?
Sure. That wasn't on my list of questions to answer, but I think
I'm sorry.
No kidding, of course. I think most of you know I'm Denise Kinney, I'm the president of Coldwell Banker Seacoast Advantage, the Wilmington region, or the Seacoast Advantage North Carolina region, I think we call it now. I was born and raised in Wilmington, so I am a local, which is unusual. Most people don't know that about me. I have one daughter who graduated from NC State. Go Pack, all my Pack fans out there. Very proud of her. She now works as a consumer analyst for PPD, now Thermo Fisher, but still lives in the Raleigh area. So she's certainly my pride and joy and absolutely my why for whatever I do. So.
Thank you. So not many people know this, but she came and worked for me for a little while. She's adorable and so very smart. I'm pretty sure she gets that from you, Denise, right?
I don't know. I'll take it. I'll take it, Laurie.
So I have a list of questions for you. How important is it to have a mentor or coach in your business? And if so, who do you look for inspiration or mentorship? And did you do this when you were coming up as an agent?
Yeah, when I was an agent, I never had a coach, and guys, that was a long time ago. So I don't even know that coaches were really a thing back then. I did have a mentor, really a very good friend, and that was the person who actually got me into the business, who talked me into kind of getting my real estate license at the time. So I did have a kind of a go-to person, as well as, my broker in charge and the company that I worked for at the time. So I will say that it was super important for me because, and I think as new agents starting out, you don't really know what you don't know yet. And it's important to continue to ask the questions and having a person to be there, no matter what the situation is. As I moved through my career in real estate and got more involved in management, I still had those people in my life. They were just different people then, and it was, whether it was the general manager of the company that you worked for at the time. I had two great general managers for different companies that I worked for that I knew I could pick up the phone and call and I would get an answer right away. And if they didn't know, they would say, "Hey, I don't know." And then I became so fortunate as to be a part of Coldwell Banker Seacoast Advantage and met Tim Milam. And I mean, just the inspiration, how much he encourages people, but also challenges you. Has certainly helped me. So I'm not the type of person that wants somebody to just say, "Hey, you're great all the time, you do great things." I want somebody to say, "Hey, you know what, that was good, but what if you would have done it like this? Would that have been better?" So I appreciate having a person like that in my life that will challenge me professionally and personally, to say, "Hey, what can we do differently next time?" And Tim is definitely that person for me. A great encourager and supporter of my business throughout this process. So certainly thankful for him.
I think that I have also been drawn to people who have a mindset of we can improve, we can get better. And Tim is definitely that kind of person. He listens to what you have to say. He gives you feedback that's positive and also where we can grow. How do you keep yourself motivated despite market changes, life impacts, just general changes?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that I do, and it depends on what's happening right now at that moment. But I read a lot for one thing. I'm a big reader and a big podcast listener. So probably if you get in the car with me, you're probably going to hear some kind of random podcast playing, and it could be, anything. Right now I'm doing one called the Happiness Lab. And it's just each day is just a different talk about things that could negatively affect your mind space and how to get out of that and how to, what do you do to stay out of that, and gives you tips and tricks to not stay in that negative space. I don't even know what the question was, Laurie. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, keep motivated. Yes. So I was like, I was about to go off on a whole nother tangent with you, but so I do. That's okay. Read a lot.
I like listening to you talk.
Okay, good. Because people who know me, Tim also trained me how to talk, y'all. So if he's on here, I'm going to get in so much trouble. But so I do like to read. I like to read things that can help me. One of my favorite books is Eat Your Frog by Jon Gordon. The book that teaches you about procrastination and teaching you not to procrastinate. And, when you come into work each day, you do, no matter what your job is, whether you're a staff person, whether you're in management, whether you're an agent, you're doing the worst task on your list that day. You're doing that one first. And when you do that, and when you do that first task that day, you feel relief, and the whole rest of your day just goes straight up. It doesn't go down because the worst thing you had to deal with today, you did it first thing when you got in the room. It's little things like that. The books, the podcast. I love being outside. So I also you'll find me outside if I ever need to just kind of take a break and get refreshed or whatever. I'm usually outside doing something like that. But I think, it's constantly who you surround yourself with. And the things that those people bring, the influences that they have in your life, but also your own influence on yourself, because we're our biggest competitor. It's not the person, sitting beside you at the office meeting. It's yourself. It's the person you look at in the mirror every day.
Absolutely. So you and I have both been in the business for a little while. We won't mention how many years.
Thank you.
But we've seen the market fluctuate over time. Thinking of all the successful realtors you've worked with over the years who've managed to live through the fluctuations and survive and thrive through those, what are the most important attributes of those successful realtors?
I would say there's probably 3 top things, and they all kind of go hand in hand, really, Laurie. One is they business plan. They plan their business, and they work the plan that they have created. By doing that, I think a huge part of that is their sphere of influence. I think if you go to your top producer in your office or in your area and ask them where did the majority of their business come from, I bet they're going to say sphere of influence. So these folks, they have a business plan. They know where they're spending their money. They know what everything costs. They know what they can afford, what they can't afford. They know they have a great database already set up, and they work it every day. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have 10,000 people in your database. If you have 100 people in your database, it's gold to you because those are your people, but you have to work it. So, and then referrals as well, which also comes from, your database or your past clients and the people that you add in there. I think the people who have come through a market shift, like what we're starting to see a little bit now, are those people that, treat their real estate business as a business, and also the people that stay in touch with people and they build relationships. They continue to keep those relationships strong with their sphere of influence and their past clients to develop referrals.
I think those are very accurate. It's amazing how important business plans are and how few realtors really want to do them. But we will offer every one of our agents a business review, won't we?
We will.
You oversee the Seacoast Advantage family with many agents and all the individual mindsets. When you come across an agent who is struggling and in that fixed mindset, what suggestions would you make to that individual to help grow their business or improve their skill sets?
I think there's a couple of good some of them are kind of fun tips that I think people can use to help overcome the fixed mindset. I think people sometimes don't realize that they do have a fixed mindset to start with. But they say, hey, I can't do this, or I can't get any more listings, or I can't sell more than 10 houses a year, or whatever it is. That is a fixed mindset. One really fun thing that I like to tell people is when they say, I can't do this, I say, add the word yet at the end of that sentence. So the sentence comes from, I can't sell 10 houses a year to, I can't sell 10 houses a year yet. So that gives you that lingers on a little bit of hope. So that says, I can't do it yet, but I am going to be able to do it, right? Yeah, you are, but you have to change that mindset. You have to get out of your fixed mindset and what's getting you there. Another way to get out of the fixed mindset, to start thinking of how you can change, is to really look back on where you've come from. I mean, I look at my career and I look at, where I've come from an age when I started as an agent to now the president of this company, and how I got here. It's mind blowing sometimes to think about to myself. But you look, and it's hard if you look in the mirror, you look at pictures, you look in the mirror every day, so you don't see change, right? I don't see myself changing every day unless my hair looks crazy or I didn't put any makeup on or whatever it is. But if you pull out a picture from 5 years ago and you look at your picture from 5 years ago and you look at your picture today, you're going to see that change. So you really have to, I think people need to stop and give themselves more credit than what they do currently. And I think by doing that, you might have to go back a couple of years and say, hey, look where I was 2 years ago and look where I am now. Or look where I was, a week ago and look where I am now. But you have to compare yourself just to yourself. Don't compare yourself to, the agent down the hallway that is doing a ton of business that you strive to be like. It's great that you have somebody you look up to, but you can't compare yourself to them if you're in a different position of your business at that time, because it's easy to say, hey, I want to be Sue Smith, and Sue sold $20 million of property last year, but I'm never going to be Sue Smith. And what we miss when we do that is we miss the process. We don't take into account the process that Sue Smith had to take to get to $20 million a year. What did she have to do to get there? What were all the activities that made her successful? That's what we tend to miss, the middle part. The fixed mindset seems to go from, I'm here and I can't be here. But you can be if you take a step back and look at the middle of that and figure out, what did that person do? What can I do better? And look, I can do it, because look where I was 5 years ago from today. So I think about where you started and where you are now, and make sure you're using good words and terms, and you're not using the words I can't, because you can if you want to, but you have to want to first.
Absolutely. I think we're our own worst critics. And, there are people like, I don't know how you do what you do. And I was like, I still remember being that 23-year-old agent who went into her first open house and didn't have a clue. Like, I didn't know what I was doing at all. And I've come just a little ways from there. I do know what to do at an open house, at least now. Speaking of skill sets, is there any training, daily motivation, resources that you recommend that agents seeking to grow individually in business and in life?
Well, I think I'm a lifetime student, so I believe you should continue your education, no matter what it be, outside of your required education that you have to take every year to keep our license. But I think you need to look beyond that and help build your niche, whatever that is, whether you're, you want to be in a global luxury, maybe you want to work that market, or whether you want to work in land sales or development tracts, find things that can help you enhance what you already know. So I like to learn. I'm a learner by heart. And I like to read. So I said that earlier, but I do read a lot. I think the little things, there's a book I have on my desk right now called Make Your Bed. I think I got it from one of our fusion events. I think the one we did in Fayetteville, that book was recommended. It's a great book, guys. And it just talks about how if you focus on the little things, then the bigger things will happen. But if you can't do the little things, are you going to be able to do the big things? So think about that. And, it talks about get up every morning and make your bed. And I know probably 10 of you are out there saying, Denise, do you make your bed every morning? I absolutely do. Even if I'm not at home, I make my bed every morning, but it's just who I am. And it feels good to me to make my bed every morning. And that's something that I kind of had to teach myself to do. I didn't always do, but I had to teach myself that that's what I need to do. I need to start my day fresh and clean and go. And then I'm in the car, not as long as you are, Laurie, to get to work, but I'm in the car a little while. And then I'm on podcasts. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to positive affirmations. I'm listening to positive thinking. I will tell you a couple of things that I think used to hurt me that I don't do as much as I used to. One is I am a huge true crime junkie. And I love listening to true crime, watching it on TV. And, it was just what I did, and don't tell my other half, Lee, if any of you guys on here know Lee, did not tell Lee I said this, but he said to me one day, he said, you've got to stop watching that stuff. It's so negative. It keeps bringing you down. It's so, because it is. Think about what happens in those instances or those stories. It's always something horrible that has happened to somebody, right? Yeah. I still listen to them and watch them, but not as much as I did. And I do think that has kind of helped my mindset a little bit. And I'll tell you something else that I've done that I know has been a huge help on me, is and some of you are going to be like, this is not the right thing for an agent to do. And it may not be the right thing for you, but it has helped me. And that is, I do not get on social media half as much as I used to. And it's not because I don't want to see all the cool things you guys are doing. It's because it drags me down. I feel deflated sometimes after I get off there, and there's so many negative things that go on, or people attacking other people. If I could get on there and just see babies and puppies, I think I'd be ecstatic. But all the other stuff comes along with it. So, and now when I do get on social media, I'm very intentional about what I'm there to do and what I'm there to see. And I'm bypassing things that are negative, and I'm just being, really the word is intentional, more intentional about my time on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, Snapchat, whatever it is I'm doing, that I'm focusing on something positive and something good. So I think those are two things that I think brought me down and added to negative headspace. And I think has certainly helped that I have kind of taken them, really just gotten it under control, really more than anything. I still do it, but it's controlled now.
I followed that example. I had to give up Twitter completely. And I'm only on social media 3 days. And I start with going and looking at my agents and what they have posted. And I start there, and then I'll go and look at my family stuff and friend stuff. But I had to do that just because I couldn't handle it. So I'm right there with you. So this is not on the list of questions, but you brought it up a couple of times that you listen to podcasts. And I just had an agent ask me who they should listen to a podcast. And I was like, I should probably listen to podcasts, but I do Audible instead on my drives. Oh, yeah. So do you have anyone that you recommend that you do follow?
I am so random. I think the only one that I'm really following right now is the Happiness Lab as far as mindset goes. I am following a few true crime podcasts, but I don't listen to them as much as I listen to the Happiness Lab. So that's probably the one I'm following now, but I tend to go and search. If I get in the car in the morning and get ready to make my drive to work and I don't, maybe I'm out of episodes or whatever, I'll just search something that day and say, okay, I want to hear about growth mindset maybe, or I want to hear about negative headspace, or I want to hear about, relationship building. And I'll just Google that or search that in whatever app you use. And that's what I'll listen to on the way to work that morning. And it, so I don't know that I follow probably the TED 10X talks. I do listen to a lot of those. Okay. So I like those too, but as far as like following something specifically, I don't, but I do Audible as well. If I'm not into a podcast, I'm getting a book, a motivational book on Audible, and I'm listening to that as well. So I do that too. Yeah.
Have been going through the Ninja recommended books on Audible. Oh, good. Yeah. Because I don't have time to read. I got 2 teenagers who cannot drive yet, but have lots of things to go to. So if you haven't tried it, I also do Clubhouse.
Oh,
And it's essentially, it's a social media that's audio, but it's active conversations, and I just get on conversations with other realtors, and there's random topics, and I go and look and see if I'm interested in any of those. So I do that. So Clubhouse it's essentially like Facebook, but it's all conversations, and you're just talking for half an hour or talking for 45 minutes or whatever it is.
so you're part of the conversation too?
Yeah.
Oh,
So you can either just listen, or unfortunately, a lot of people know me around here. And so they've seen me pop up and they invite me up to speak. And I'm like, oh, I just wanted to drive today.
yeah, I understand. Totally do. That's
um,
good.
so, but I find that's really helpful. You might find it interesting. What do you do personally if you find yourself in a negative headspace?
The first thing I probably do is, if it's a situation, I remove myself from the situation immediately. Just because I'm the type of person that I know that I need a second. And I'll go outside usually because I like being outside. Unless it's pouring down rain, then I probably won't go outside, but I'll probably look out the window. Just because I need that space, that sunshine, that being outside is what really gets me going. And I guess working in an office most of the time, and it just helps me to get away and get into a different environment. And I really try to take that time to process things myself before I react. I do believe that, there's if any of you guys are friends with me on Facebook, I have one of my favorite quotes. It's very long. It's like a paragraph. It's on my Facebook page by Charles Swindoll. And one of the things that he says in there is, that, 90% of what happens to you, you can't control. But 10% of what you can't control, but you can control your attitude, right? That's the one thing. You can't control the events, but what you can control is how you react to those events. And I think about that a lot, and I have over many, many years, because I know that my reaction is going to cause another reaction for someone else. So it's always trying to think one step ahead. What's going to happen next? What if I do this? What will happen next? And try to be mindful of other people. It doesn't take a lot to be kind to someone else. It doesn't take a lot to be thinking about how this could affect someone else. So I really just take a step back, Laurie. I just take a step back, take a deep breath. All right, you got to get it back together, Denise. You know what I mean? I have a little talk with myself. I think that's okay too. If y'all ever pass me on the highway and my lips are moving, I'm either singing or talking to myself, and that's okay. But just to try to, hey, I need to refocus on what's important here and what's not important. I mean, I think it's so important too. I mean, another great book that we've talked about tons is The Energy Bus. And, are you surrounding yourself with the right people? Are you surrounding yourself with positive people? Are you aligning yourself with people who reinforce all the positive things, who encourage you, who believe in you, who trust you, who want you to do well just as much as you do, or even more? If you're around people who bring you down, that's probably not the right person to be hanging out with in your business or personal life, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things I like about being with CBA is there's so many positive people, and then we just reinforce it for everybody. And so it just makes the day better.
It does.
And life better.
I have a friend that I met at an Ascend class in New Jersey, and she came down a few weeks ago and spent some time with me. She's from Wisconsin. And when she came in town, I said, "Oh, I'm taking vacation." She said, "No, I want to go to work. I want to go to work with you." She works, she owns a Coldwell Banker franchise in Wisconsin. And I was like, okay, so we'll go to work one day. So I'll bring her to work one day. And we end up spending the entire day at work. I planned on going and doing something fun, but we got busy. So we spent the entire day at the office. And that night when we left, she was like, "Denise, you work with the best people." She said, "Everybody I met was so nice. They're so inviting. They're so welcoming. I know why you love coming to work here. It's because of the people." And she's absolutely right. I mean, and she went from one person's office to the next person's office, learning, asking questions, and everybody was just, an open door, willing to help. So I agree with you totally, Laurie. What we have in all of our regions is so special, and not everybody else has it. So very fortunate.
It's very true. So I like to start my day off with gratitudes. Do you start your day off with gratitude and thankfulness? And do you think it can shift an individual's response to their day?
I do. I think always starting off with something that you're thankful for. The more you can focus on a positive, the better you are, which is why I love the happiness lab so much, because it's happy stuff. It makes me happy,
Right.
makes me want to smile. And that just, alludes to everybody else that is around you. But I do think it's super important. I know those of you who have been through Ninja certainly know how important it is from Ninja to do that, and making sure you're doing your gratitudes each day. And what are you thankful for? And it doesn't have to be huge things, guys. You don't have to win the lottery to be thankful. It doesn't have, it can be the smallest of things. It could be something awesome that happened to you yesterday. It could be that, somebody said, you looked great today. It's so little. It's the little things, just like the book, Make Your Bed. Focus on all the little things first. And then the big things will happen, and you'll be able to let it happen when it does.
I'm a true believer that, people do wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And so I actually keep my a journal to write down my gratitude right next to my bed, so that I do not get out of bed without being thankful and changing that mindset, which I did it before Ninja. And so I thought it was really cool that Ninja does that as well. But that was the only way. I've gone through some things that were super stressful, and that was the only way I was able to get out of bed some days. And so I really recommend that to people. Do we have any questions? Because I've totally forgot to remind people to put questions in even though Elsa reminded me to remind everyone. Are there any questions in the chat, Brian?
Not right now.
Okay. Is there anything that you would absolutely want everyone to know about mindset that I didn't cover, Denise?
Somebody has their hand raised up there at the top. I don't know if you see him or not, but we'll do that first. That's
okay.
Cool.
Brian, are you going to handle Isabel?
This is Isabel and husband. My husband is the one that is asking the question.
Oh,
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Love what you both are talking about gratitude. That's something that we try to emphasize in our personal life as well as our professional life. I was more hoping that you could post in the chat the links to some of these podcasts and audibles that you were talking about, but also the one question I did have is, you've emphasized mentorship and seeking out a solid mentor that's providing these things. Are there specific things in the early days of your professional career that you would say were greater money makers for you, in terms of this turned the table for you, learning this skill or learning how to focus on these things, whether it be client relations or qualifying or whatever, that really helped put you on the yellow brick road?
I will say that at the beginning of my career, I started with a company that did not offer very much. It was not Coldwell Banker Seacoast Advantage. It was not Coldwell Banker Advantage. It was a different company. So I started with the company that the only training that I got was really how to fill out the forms. That's the internal training that they did. And then you were kind of on your own to figure out what comes next. And this was a long time ago. So I personally didn't have anything like that. As I've moved forward in my career and seen things happen around me, I think there are some wonderful things out there. There's some great people who will do mentorships with you and coaching with you. But I think the best place to look is right inside your own company, inside your own office. I had a good broker in charge I'm still friends with today, who did help me a lot and who always answered my question. And I think that relationship with that person in your office, whoever it is, your managing broker, your broker in charge, I think that is really key because if they're not filling your needs or you need more, they'll know what's going to be working for you inside your own office. And I know I'm being very vague, and it's just because I didn't have any of that when I started. I wish I did. I wish I'd have started at Coldwell Banker, but I didn't. And I can tell you from both sides of the spectrum, I'd love to be a new agent starting at Coldwell Banker today with everything that they have to offer. I think if you just take advantage of what you have, but really rely on your manager, or if you're on a team, your team leader is a great person to rely on and a great mentorship. So these people are there to help and support you, just like all the staff is, really. And I know I did not answer your question. I'm sorry. Laura, do you want to help?
So I've also been in the business since 93. So back then they just didn't have that either. And I would say that I have tried to be the person I wish I'd had when I started out, to give the advice that I wish I had. And that's kind of how I lead with my new agents and all of that. And I actually got more mentorship out of the association that I belong to, and the people there who were willing to give of their time is why they were involved in the association. So I found more of that there than I did at my company, which is actually how Eddie and Gary found me, was at the association. So if you don't see it where you're at, go to some place where it is. Not only in business, but in your personal life. We have the philosophy of get involved at CBA and also at Seacoast. And we have choices. There are so many places that need volunteers. And I was with a group where I found myself with somebody who was negative, and I just did not want to go there every Monday night. And so I found a place that did the exact same thing, but with really positive people on Sundays. So, and that helped me in my business life because I didn't spend all of my Monday dreading going to that one place. And so find people that you want to be around. But as far as skill sets, this is probably actually going to surprise me. I'm a fairly shy person. I get up on camera and I go and I do the things and I push myself through my discomfort. But I hate cocktail parties. I hate having to go and talk to people I don't know. I get super stressed out at Fusion and all of those people. That's just not my thing. And I need a reason to talk to people. So I knew that about myself. I knew I needed a reason to talk to people. And so that's actually why I got involved in the association, is so I would have something to talk about. And so it's finding those where your weaknesses are and how you can do it better, because we're all going to have different answers. And so as a manager, I try and work with my agents and find out where their weaknesses are and where they can help. And so with that, with your particular questions, and probably with everyone, I would go to my manager and talk about where I think I'm struggling and what ideas they might have. Well, thank you so very much. I think we're only 3 minutes over. So we did pretty well, I think. Thank you so very much, everyone. And thank you, Denise, for joining us with our What Moves Her. I'm so excited about expanding this out to the full Advantage family of family of companies. I can't talk today, but I'm really excited about us expanding it and having all of you join us. And I know that we have some coming up with Fayetteville and another one coming up with Seacoast, and getting to know most of you. And except for the big room at Fusion, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone as well.
It's going to be fun, Laurie. We're going to break you out of your shell.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.